We don't create, actually. We assemble what God created. See, it's already there, anyhow. You just choose. You just take what's in front of you and you manipulate, you put it together.
My name is Sasha Hart, and I am the director of the Sasha Hart School of Ballet. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I teach not only at my own school, but at various ballet schools in the city. I met Balanchine when I was 9 years old as I entered the School of American Ballet. I grew up in New York City, and that was the first place I took ballet lessons.
In the early 1900s, ballet was thought of as a European art by Americans. George Balanchine changed this when he started a ballet company in New York City. Despite the public's original disapproval, with Balanchine's persistence, the company was eventually embraced by the American people in the 1950s. George Balanchine popularized ballet in America through his leadership of the School of American Ballet, New York City Ballet, and his ingenious choreography. Born on January 22, 1904 in St. Petersburg, Russia, George Balanchine was originally named Georgy Melantonovich Balanchine. Son of a composer, Balanchine grew up with music all around him.
Music. That's what made him so amazing. If you see his choreography, and it's not only from a dancer's point of view, but from a musician point of view. Being married to a musician, I know this. He would just look at me and say, he knows the music, he knows every note.
He eventually entered the Imperial Ballet School, now called the Vaganova Ballet Academy, at age 9. He went on to major in music in college and entered the Mariinsky Theater of Ballet in 1921. These early experiences gave him greater insight and ability to translate music to dance. On an invitation from Sergei Diaghilev, Balanchine, along with 3 other dancers, traveled from Russia during the Revolution to Europe and joined Ballet Russe in 1924. It was here that Georgy Balanchine became George Balanchine. Diaghilev did not just see a dancer in Balanchine, but also a choreographer. He hired him as a ballet master, and because of a knee injury, Balanchine began to focus more of his attention on choreography. After Diaghilev's death in 1929, Balanchine traveled around Europe choreographing and eventually formed his own company, Les Ballets. Lincoln Kirsten was a man very involved in the arts in America at the time. Ballet was his predominant focus, but alas, in America, ballet was thought of as a European art.
Transplanting the ballet to the U.S. is like trying to raise a palm tree in Dakota.
People said things like,
apparently, the old tradition has not yet been eradicated, that we are a crude, pioneer people and must import our culture from the European fountainhead.
The fact is, when he came, ballet was mostly Russian. It was from Russia. So.
Kirsten dreamed of creating an American ballet company, but lacked the resources to do so. He visited Europe and saw Balanchine's company Les Ballets and was impressed with the performance. He knew that Balanchine was the man for the job. Kirsten approached Balanchine with his offer, and Balanchine, who had always been fascinated with America, was intrigued and decided to give it a try.
As often brilliant people as he was, meet other brilliant people and are searching constantly for liaisons that they can acquire. His relationship with Lincoln Kirsten was it for him.
Balanchine arrived in New York City on October 17, 1933. With Balanchine's ingenuity and Kirsten's dream, a new view of this art form was introduced to America. In 1934, the School of American Ballet was opened by Balanchine and Kirsten on January 2nd, and to this day has remained open. This gave the opportunity for many young Americans to be classically trained in ballet. Now dancers did not need to be imported from Europe and Russia. Americans could be high-class dancers in their own right. After a year of gathering dancers from the area, a few failed attempts were made at a professional company. But when Morton Bow saw a performance, he offered the company a spot at City Center as the New York City Ballet. Balanchine had now found a permanent home for the company. Balanchine became the artistic director and leader of the new company from 1946 until his death. At this time, Americans felt as though they could not relate to this inhuman dance. Americans felt more connected to modern dance with human themes as opposed to ballets with swans and princesses. Therefore, they did not embrace the idea of a ballet company, especially one formed by a foreigner. Luckily, Balanchine was not deterred. He continued to create work after work, and the public soon grew to appreciate his creativity and the art form. Now that Americans saw themselves on stage, ballet in America did not seem like such a crazy idea after all. And so began the first American ballet company that could rival those in Europe and Russia. New York City Ballet soon became synonymous with new works, as critic John Martin of the New York Times reviewed.
To its unbroken record of successful premieres, New York City Ballet Company at the City Center last night added still another.
While discussing the new work Pas de deux romantique. This review is similar to many others concerning Balanchine's choreography. Balanchine created a total of 425 works, the majority of which were created for the New York City Ballet. As the current New York City Ballet puts it, hopeless romantic, pure classicist, intellectual modernist. George Balanchine could do it all and receive rave reviews. Balanchine had popularized ballet in America. Many of George Balanchine's styles and techniques are still taught today in ballet schools all over the U.S. The School of American Ballet is still running today and recognized as one of the top schools in the world. Not only is it still running, but the first ballet he created in the U.S., Serenade, is included in repertoires of companies all over the world. The New York City Ballet has continued to thrive and is the largest ballet company in America and is still considered a home of aspiring choreographers and new works. Balanchine's choreography has lived on through the George Balanchine Trust, which protects his ballets and their unique styles. His ballets are performed not only by American companies, but European and Russian companies have also added them to their repertoire. Without Balanchine's creativity and integrity, America might not have been introduced to ballet.
What would life be like without Balanchine? I can't even imagine. The whole world knows Balanchine. He, as I say, changed the whole scene of ballet and what it was supposed to be. And he also made it for everybody. He expanded so that in every city in America, it happened in Europe first, but in America, every city was having a ballet company, and more and more and more. And of course, till this day, all companies do Balanchine ballet.